which of the following hormones is responsible for decreasing the blood pressure? Okay, so we are looking at decrease in the blood pressure. All right, the options given here are adrenaline, ANF or atrial natriuretic factor, cortisol or noradrenaline. So as you might remember already, adrenaline and noradrenaline are the emergency hormones, as we call them as, right? That is the response of flight, fright and, yes, flight, fright and fight. Yes, so triple F response, right? So these emergency hormones, they cannot lower the BP. They have to increase the BP in order to carry out these kind of responses, these kind of emergency responses. Also, when you look at cortisol, it's basically a stress hormone. All right, and this is obviously going to increase the blood pressure and not decrease it. So obviously we are left with the option of ANF or atrial natriuretic factor, and this is obviously going to be the right answer because of the reason that ANF is actually a vasodilator. So what does it do exactly? ANF is secreted in response to the stretch that is happening in the atrial wall of the heart, right? As soon as this happens, this ANF goes and targets the tunica media, which is the middle smooth muscle layer of the blood vessel. And as soon as this happens, what happens is that this tunica media layer, which is made up of smooth muscle cells, like I said, is going to relax. Because this is going to relax, what will happen? The blood vessel's diameter is going to increase. There is going to be a dilation of the blood vessel, which is what we are referring to as vasodilation. Because as the principle of physics goes, it's very simple that whenever you are going to increase the diameter of a channel or of a tube where the fluid is flowing, if you increase the diameter keeping everything else constant, what will happen? The pressure of the fluid inside this tube is going to get reduced. And that is the same reason why in this case, because dilation of blood vessel is happening, because there is increase in the diameter of the blood vessel, the pressure is going to go down and hence thereby reducing the blood pressure, right? Let's quickly revise all the points that I just said. Okay, so ANF or atrial natriuretic factor is a hormone that is secreted by the atrial wall, like I already said, of the heart when there is an increase in the blood pressure, right? So basically ANF and renin pathway, RAS pathway, you know that, right? You remember that. So these two things work in an antagonistic way. They keep a check on each other literally, right? Going ahead. So here what you are seeing is there is a beautiful section of the blood vessel that has been shown to you. You can obviously see the three layers of the blood vessel. There is tunica intima, tunica media, and then tunica externa. We are talking about and we are concerned about tunica media here. As soon as, due to the stretch in the wall of the atria, ANF is released, this goes into the blood, of course, and this will go and now target the tunica media, like I told you earlier while reading the question. So what happens here is that this ANF causes the relaxation of the smooth muscles of the tunica media, okay, hence bringing about increase in the diameter of the blood vessel or the space inside the blood vessel. You see this? So this is like the earlier diameter of the blood vessel, and here is what is the increased diameter of the blood vessel, and hence obviously the fluid inside this, that means the blood, will have a lesser pressure. Okay, clear everyone? Fine, let's go ahead. ANF causes dilation of blood vessels, which results in the decrease in the blood pressure and obviously increase in the blood flow, right? Talking about the incorrect options for this question, adrenaline and noradrenaline, they are emergency hormones that are secreted by the adrenal medulla of the adrenal gland. You know where is adrenal gland? This is the adrenal gland that we've shown just above the kidney, right? It is present literally like a cap. Okay. Now, when you look at the sections of adrenal gland, you see there is a cortical region and then there is a medullary region. So we are talking about the secretion of adrenaline and noradrenaline from the adrenal medulla part. Okay. They both increase the blood pressure and hence the heart rate, obviously. Okay. Going on to cortisol, it's a glucocorticoid which is secreted by the adrenal cortex, which I just explained you about, of the adrenal gland, and increase in cortisol levels is going to increase the blood pressure. It's a stress hormone, right? So the right answer for this question is going to be option B. Choose the correct hormone and its source. Very straightforward kind of a question. So here we have four options: heart, secretin, GI tract, pepsin, kidney erythropoietin, and lungs ANF. So I think the answer is very, 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 very clear here. This option, the third option, is going to be the correct one. Why? Because the juxtaglomerular cells of the kidney, of basically the JGA, that is juxtaglomerular apparatus, are the ones that secrete out erythropoietin, which is responsible for erythropoiesis, that means red blood cell formation. Okay, talking about secretin. Secretin is sent out from where? It is secreted from where? It is released from the GI tract, not heart. Okay. Talking about pepsin, where is pepsin released from? Pepsin is released from the peptic cells of the stomach. It's not from the GI tract as such. We don't call it as GI tract. It's directly from the peptic cells, or the chief cells as you call them as, from the stomach. And then talking about ANF, ANF is released from the heart, the atrial wall specifically, right? Clear? Yes, you all have understood this point. Okay, so let's very quickly revise everything that is given in the question. Okay, so ANF is a hormone that is secreted by the atrial wall of the heart. And when is it released? It's released in trigger to the stretch of the atrial wall, to the stretch which actually is happening along with increase in the blood pressure. So basically, the heart is going to reduce the blood pressure by secretion of the ANF, of course, right? By acting on the tunica media of the blood vessels. All right. Now talking about secretin, it is secreted by the endocrine cells of the GI tract, like I already told you. And pepsin is secreted by the peptic cells present in the stomach. Talking about erythropoietin, which was given as the correct match, it's a hormone. It's a peptide hormone to be specific, and it is released by the juxtaglomerular cells of the kidney, which I already told you are basically a part of juxtaglomerular apparatus. Let me just remind you what are juxtaglomerular cells here. They are basically these specialized smooth muscle cells which are present especially in the afferent arteriole that is taking the blood to the glomerulus of the kidneys. Okay? Yes, you all remember this point. Further, it basically stimulates the process of RBC formation, also called as erythropoiesis, especially in case of bone marrow. Yes, you will remember this point. This is a very, very important point from exam point of view. Okay, so the right answer for this question is going to remain option C. Which hormone is not a gastrointestinal hormone? Okay, once again, a very straightforward kind of a question. Very important point here is that we are only looking at the gastrointestinal hormone. Okay, now when you look at these four hormones, namely cholecystokinin, gastrin, renin, and then secretin, we know that renin is the hormone that is associated with the kidneys, which are obviously not a part of the gastrointestinal tract as such. And hence, the right answer for this question is going to be option C, renin. But let us, revise about all the other three options as well, which are given as the incorrect ones, and what are their exact functions and where are they secreted from. Okay, so when you look at the endocrine part or endocrine cells that are present in the gastrointestinal tract, they majorly release four different types of peptide hormones, namely gastrin, secretin, cholecystokinin, and the GIP, which is also called as gastric inhibitory peptide or enterogastrone. Okay, talking about gastrin first, this is responsible for stimulation of, yes, what does it stimulate? It stimulates the secretion of all the gastric juice, right? So stimulation of gastric juice, and this is obviously going to be present in the stomach. Yeah, where does gastric juice get secreted from? From the stomach, right? So obviously gastrin is acting on the G cells present in the stomach, and that is where it is going to lead to the production of the gastric juice. Okay, talking about secretin, and both cholecystokinin for that matter are secreted by duodenum. Okay, and what does it exactly do? Secretin has two major functions. It basically stimulates the liver to release bile, and it stimulates the pancreas to secrete out the bicarbonate ions and water in order to neutralize the acidic pH which is coming from the stomach. Yes, and then talking about cholecystokinin, as I said, this is also secreted by the duodenum, and more important point here is that this also plays two roles. First is pancreatic enzyme. I'm writing down in short. Oh, pancreas. Yeah, so pancreatic enzymes is what it is working on, stimulation of pancreatic enzyme secretion. And the second thing is that it triggers gallbladder to release bile. So the point of difference, this is a very important point where many children make mistake by just not knowing the small difference. Secretin also works on bile secretion, and cholecystokinin is also working on bile secretion. But the point of difference is that cholecystokinin works on the gallbladder to release out the bile, whereas secretin is working on the liver for release of bile. Once again, both secretin and cholecystokinin work on pancreas also, but secretin works on the secretion of the bile and water, etc. from the pancreas, and talking about the cholecystokinin, it works on the enzymatic secretion from the pancreas. Yes, talking about gastric inhibitory peptide, it has two major roles here. One is inhibition of the activity that is being brought about by gastrin, and second is to stimulate the secretion of insulin. Okay, these are the two major points here. So this is about the incorrect options. Let's go on to the correct option, which was renin here. Okay, now renin is the enzyme that is secreted by the kidneys. From where in the kidneys? From juxtaglomerular apparatus in the kidneys. From which part of the juxtaglomerular apparatus specifically? It's going to be the juxtaglomerular cells of the juxtaglomerular apparatus. Now, what are these JG cells or juxtaglomerular cells? They are basically specialized smooth muscle cells, specially present in the afferent arteriole, which is taking the blood to the glomerulus in the kidneys. Okay, and what is this responsible for? This renin is basically responsible for renin angiotensin aldosterone system, which is also called as RAS pathway, which is indirectly meant to increase the blood pressure and hence increase the GFR, that is glomerular filtration rate. Clear, everyone? So the right answer for this question is going to be option C, that is renin. Which of the following hormone is secreted by endocrine cells of gastrointestinal tract? So we are looking at the secretion by the endocrine cells. This is the most important key point here of the gastrointestinal tract. So the options here are secretin, cholecystokinin, gastrin, or all of the above. As we know, all these three are responsible for they are basically being secreted by the endocrine cells of the gastrointestinal tract and have very, very, very important functions to play. Secretin is responsible for release of bile from liver and also release of bicarbonates and water from the pancreas. Talking about cholecystokinin, responsible for release of bile from gallbladder and also responsible for release of pancreatic enzymes. Talking about gastrin, of course it is responsible for stimulation of gastric juice secretion, which has both HCl and especially protein digesting enzyme, but in an inactive form. Yeah. Okay, so the right answer and the more appropriate one here is going to be option D, which is all of the above. Let's quickly revise all the concepts related to this question. So as we know, endocrine cells present in different parts of the gastrointestinal tract, they secrete out 4 major peptide hormones, namely gastrin, secretin, cholecystokinin, and gastric inhibitory peptide, which is basically an inhibitory hormone. Okay. Now talking about the secretin first. Secretin is the hormone that is secreted by the by specifically the S cells of duodenum. Okay, of course endocrine part of the gastrointestinal tract, but which cell specifically? It is secreted in the duodenum by the S cells. Please remember this. This is very, very important point. How is it triggered? When the acidic food from the stomach is flowing into the small intestine. What is the first part of small intestine? Duodenum, right? So as soon as this acidic food enters, the S cells are stimulated to release out a gush and literally a huge river of bicarbonates and water in order to neutralize the pH that is coming from neutralize the acidic pH that is coming from the stomach. Okay. Going ahead, gastrin, it's responsible for secretion of HCl and pepsinogen. Like I told you, HCl is going to contribute to the acidic pH of the stomach, and pepsinogen is going to obviously, after activation, it's going to basically break down the proteins. But for the activation of pepsinogen also, we need HCl, we need acidic pH. Okay, so how does this whole mechanism work? Let's see. Whenever there is a slightly basic pH in the stomach, what it does is that it leads to triggering of the specific G cells which are present in the stomach. Okay, now these G cells are responsible for the release of gastrin. Okay, this gastrin stimulates the parietal or the oxyntic cells to release out HCl from the stomach, and then this HCl is going to obviously create an acidic pH. So you see how the slightly basic pH worked around to make or trigger the cells which are responsible for acid secretion, and hence making the pH of the stomach acidic, which is very essential for its function. And as soon as this acidity is created, the pepsinogen also is going to get converted into its active form, that is pepsin, protein digesting enzyme. Okay, going ahead, cholecystokinin is going to stimulate the secretion of pancreatic enzyme and the bile juice by pancreas and gallbladder respectively. Very important point. So the right answer for this question is going to be option D. That means all of the above are the hormones which are secreted by the endocrine cells of the gastrointestinal tract. Match the following hormone with the organ or tissue that it acts on. Okay, so we have been given three hormones here: secretin, cholecystokinin, and gastrin. And in column 2, we have gastric glands, exocrine part of the pancreas, and gallbladder. Okay, so as we know that gastrin is going to basically be secreted by the G cell specifically, and it's going to act on the gastric juice secretion or the gastric glands, from the gastric glands, right? So this one, first one is going to match with the R, right? Then talking about secretin, let's talk about secretin. Secretin is basically responsible for two important things: release of bile, but the release of bile is happening from the liver under the influence of secretin. Okay, so liver is not given here anywhere, so we are not going to go with that option. The second thing that the secretin does is that it releases a huge amount of water and bicarbonate ions in order to make the pH alkaline in the intestine and to obviously protect the intestine. So obviously this is going to match to option P here, which is the exocrine part of the pancreas. That is what secretin is working on. Okay, then we talk about cholecystokinin. Cholecystokinin also has two major functions. First one, it stimulates the gallbladder for the release of bile. And like I always keep repeating this point, and it's very essential, that secretin is going to stimulate the liver to release bile, but cholecystokinin stimulates the gallbladder to release bile. Yes, clear everyone? Okay, so this cholecystokinin is going to trigger the gallbladder for release of bile. And the second thing that it does is that it stimulates the pancreas to release the pancreatic enzymes, which are very important for digestion process. Okay, so the Q1 is going to match to the third one. Clear? Let's very quickly revise the whole options and then let's see the answer. So secretin acts on the exocrine, that is the glands with the duct. We know what is exocrine and what is endocrine now. So this on the exocrine part of the pancreas and stimulates the secretion of water and bicarbonate ions. Very quickly, let's revise the flow sheet. And if you try to recall this kind of flow sheet when you are solving a question, it's going to be the best way to remember it. And I'm sure once you try to learn things this way, you would never forget the answer. You would never need to really mug up things. Okay, so talking about first trigger, what happens is that as soon as the food is digested in the stomach, it's obviously going to travel to the small intestine, the next stoppage for the food to pass on. So as soon as it reaches the small intestine, the first part of the small intestine, which is duodenum part, it's going to have these special S cells which are responsible for secretion of secretin. Why does this happen? Why does this trigger happen? Because acidic pH is what is coming from the stomach, and this acidic pH, this acidic influx is very, very strong trigger to stimulate these S cells. And as soon as this happens, the S cells are going to trigger the release of bicarbonate ions and water, which, as you know, bicarbonate ions are going to make the pH towards an alkaline range. Okay, so influx of gastric acid creates the acidic pH in the small intestine. This triggers the S cell of the duodenum lying in the first part of the small intestine, which releases secretin, and hence this stimulates the secretion of water and bicarbonate ions, thereby making the pH basic. Okay, clear everyone? We go on to the next one, that is gastrin. Let's look at this also in a very beautiful flow sheet kind of a way. What happens here is that as soon as there is slightly basic pH in the stomach. Remember, I'm not saying acidic pH. I'm saying when there is a small amount of basic pH that is, recognized in the stomach, what happens is that it triggers the G cells. As soon as it triggers the G cells of the stomach, it's going to release gastrin. As soon as gastrin is released, it's going to trigger all the special types of cells, especially the ones which are called as parietal or oxyntic cells, and the chief cells or the peptic cells. What will happen from parietal cells? It will release the HCl, yes. And what will happen from the peptic cells? It will release the pepsinogen, which obviously in the presence of HCl is going to get converted into its active form called as pepsin. Okay, clear everyone? Talking about cholecystokinin, it stimulates the pancreatic secretion in the form of enzymes. Okay, it's responsible for secretion of the pancreatic enzymes and also the secretion of bile from the gallbladder. Clear everyone? So the right answer for this question is going to be option A, like we created the match. So P is going to match to 2, Q is going to match to 3, yeah, and the R1 is going to match to the first option.